I need to talk in English or?
Sì, in English, yeah.
Okay.
You want to be understood.
Okay. God Save Italians is the claim of my next documentary. Influx is the title. Influx. What is influx for you? Influx. Yeah.
Like when a lot of things are coming out.
Exactly. A lot of things or people too. Maybe ideas or thoughts or maybe whatever. Okay? Influx of everything. Okay? But in my sense, in my idea was words to explain what's up at the moment in England if I look my population, Italian people. In England now is very, very unbelievable, massive migration, the massive migration from Italy in the last 20, 30 years is now, London is the first place, okay? After there is Berlin and Australia, America too, South America, Argentina, Brazil, but United States too. But it's more tricky, you know, because visa, blah, 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 is more complicated. But in Europe, at the moment, the problem is why? My question is, why the Italian people, the beautiful place, Italy, no? Every people in the world love my country. But what's up in my country? What is the real feel of my population at the moment? I live in London now, and there is a reason. Okay, I want to stay in my country, but I can't work in my country. I can live with my work in my country. And I think it's a very sad, because many people abroad think the same like me. But we love the place where we live, like America, London. I love London. It's an amazing town, but it's not my country. And I feel very good. But when I think my country is not England, England is my second house at the moment. And my special thanks, because I can work in my work, I can do whatever I want. But what's up? This is the poster of the movie. I wanna do a travel, a journey with you to understand what is my idea to start the documentary, because I was one of those people in England. I live in England from 3 years now, and I think now my life is very different in a positive way. You can hear me? Yeah? Okay. What is this icon for you, this symbol? You know, this is a this one. If you look just the brand, this is the brand of my movie. But in your mind, what is that? This form.
Similar to the shape.
Shape? Or?
The form of the country.
Country, maybe.
Italy.
Italy, without Sicily Islands. Or
Comma, cute, kind of like a
comma, yeah, it's possible. Or
Or a knife. Sembra un coltello.
un coltello, knife. Aggressive.
Oh,
Or
like a cutter.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's possible. Or a door.
Got many.
If you remove,
Ah,
if you remove the face,
ma sì, è vero, una porta aperta, semi-aperta. Semi-open door, yeah.
just a second. This is the first teaser to present my new documentary, and was just to show you the door. Okay, there is a door. Okay. Okay, just pictures from the backstage. But in my opinion, to tell a story about migration, you need to know very well the place and the people. I'm Italian. I know my country, I know my people. And now, can I say you, I know London too. But it's not just a documentary about migration. It's a documentary about Italians. And that's different for me because it's an opportunity to study my nation from London. London is like a village of Italians, you know, outside the country, but we bring with us all the things, good things, the worst things, you know, all the stuff in a small village in London. We are maybe 500,000 people in London, and we are the second population from Europe in London, after Poland. Okay? Then, so right, you know? There are a lot of migrants, but we are the second in the top list. Okay? My idea was, I want to tell this story because I'm part of it. I'm part of this migration, new contemporary migration. It's not just a migration of people, poor people, or, you know, or just genius. It's a massive migration of people. Different ages, different works, different backgrounds, and we need just to live. And my idea was, can I tell this story through the point of view of the other Italians still in London from many years, for example, to analyze ourselves together? Can I have a look with you, to understand what's up in London now, in our country in particular, through the lens of London. London for me is a mirror, like a mirror. La fabbrica dei sogni.
Pensavo fosse Hollywood.
Ma gli American Dreams per l'Europa e l'Inghilterra adesso. Scusate, parlo italiano. Okay. The American Dreams for the European people is England now for us, because it's more close, it's more easy, and you don't need visa, ESTA, blah blah blah. Then 2 hours you can back at home. But the question is, why the people move, leave the place, just to learn more and after that back to the country, or just to live. That's it. Because this is a very strange period in Italy, but is a very tricky moment in terms of migration from other countries, from the south, for example, Africa or Libya or Syria or whatever. There is a lot of migration in our country from the south, and we are the migrants from the south in the North Europe. There is a very influx of people, you know, for different reasons, but the question is, we need to live better, or just live, okay? And I think migration is very important for that reason. We need to understand what's up. And now I can show you the short movie of the documentary with English subtitles. Sorry, I forgot it in that version. This version was in Cannes this year. You know, the first time for me in Cannes in this version, and just to give you more of the approach in this subject, in this matter, the style, the point of view, you know, and my sensibility too.
So you presented this, I mean, we're only going to see an excerpt of the movie you presented at the Cannes Film Festival.
No, this is the short movie presented in Cannes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you also tell us about where else the movie is going? And, you know, you have other festivals.
Oh yeah. I'm.
In particular here in the States.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm finger crossed because I have applied to the Sundance Film Festival. This is my best festival, in my opinion. It's the best festival in the world in terms of independent movie. And maybe there are good opportunities for this movie because the subject is a not hot topic in that sense, and I don't know, the quality could be good, and I don't know, but I feel good in that sense.
Finger crossed.
Finger crossed.
When will you find out?
In November, the official selection. In the feature category, feature documentary, maybe.
I just want to make sure. This is why we could not advertise in the flyer that we were going to screen from Influx. We just didn't say because he is in the process of applying. So to figure
Exactly,
in.
because as you know, in the international festivals, usually you can't screen the documentary before the festival because it's they need the exclusive. Exclusive is must be exclusive for the festival, the premiere in the world. Then this is very special time for you, special opportunity, okay? You are the first one, the first university in the world.
Are we really?
Yeah, it's the first time. Ok, la luce come si spegne?
Spegnile tutte. Pigia, pigia.
Okay. This version is a work in progress version. Then there aren't graphics, for example. You can see sometimes there are screening with a gray background and a small video in the center. Now it's different because it was a work in progress copy. Then now there are the graphics inside. But I want to show you the real version you can. Which kind of emotions, if you have felt emotion?
Sadness.
Sadness? Yeah. And?
Desperation. Desperation.
Desperate.
Desperation?
Sometimes we feel lost, not here, not there, in the middle.
In the middle? Yeah, exactly. No directions?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And? Any other? balance, sad,
Yeah, not in Italy, not in England. It's the only one.
in the middle. Yeah, like
True.
line.
Balance.
Yeah. Mm.
Two words.
And exactly, this is the. But inside the movie, there are different steps. Okay, here is just a very short version. But in the movie, there is a travel, psychological experience to understand from the beginning, from the departure from the country to the new life. Okay, but it's a process, it's a psychological process. And there is a self-analysis, there is awareness, there is, emotions, there are a lot of, it's a hard work to understand myself. In fact, this is my self-analysis. It's my first self-analysis. And it's public. Then, because I talk about me, but about my country and my people. I don't know if there are Italians here. What is your feel?
I feel very much like, as he was saying, to be in between. I always feel not really American, and I don't think I any longer feel Italian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you feel
Who you are?
exactly.
Mm.
You're losing a little bit of your self.
Identity. Yeah.
Well, my case is a little bit different because I was 16 when I came to
Okay.
New York, and I didn't want to come, so I was forced to come. And America, for me, was not a place that I really wanted to be in. At 16, I just wanted to be where I was. But I'm very interested in all the problems of immigrations because my family came to New York, and then, and as I told you before, it was from Sicily, and they didn't, I don't have an Italian accent because I learned English almost as another first language. Nobody was teaching it to me, and, right,
My York blood.
yeah.
What do you feel?
In my blood,
Are
I
you
feel
Italian
Sicilian.
or American?
I feel Sicilian in my blood.
I feel Sicilian, that's important. You know what I mean? No Italian, no American, Sicilian. Your roots. Okay, this is very interesting in terms of migration. All the people around the world discover the real roots outside the country. That's very important, very interesting. No? You feel Sicilian. How many times have you visited Sicily in the last years?
The last time I went, I go to Italy a lot, but I don't go to Sicily a lot because I have to be there a long time.
Okay. That is very okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not my case.
But there are people here, for example, in America, many Sicilians from the south or from other regions, never
Never go back.
go back to
Yeah.
Italy. Wow. And if I ask, are you Italian or American, they respond, the answer is the same.
Yeah.
No, my comment is more about the perception that, I mean, the idea that a lot of the Italians have that things are so much better in the UK, and somehow it's a society that's more democratic, that doesn't have discrimination. I am rather suspicious of that, because we know that the UK discriminates, as most societies, as this one does, as the Italian do, as Western societies, and maybe all of them.
Yeah.
So it seems to me like, I don't know, like, I share what has been said in this room in terms of the emotions that emerge from the film, but it also seems like maybe, isn't it too optimistic to think that everything is
No.
that much
Exactly.
better in London?
No, absolutely. It's not the truth. The truth.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
obviously. In fact, this is just a resume of a long documentary, and I can't explain all my point of view during the analysis. But there is a balance in the feature film. There is a balance between the real situation in England, democracy, and there are a lot of difference in front of, than respect than Italy, but it's not easy. It's a jungle. It's a very strong jungle, London, and you can die in 1 week. Okay, all the dreams, but it's very competition, money, and wow. Okay, you must be a warrior. Okay, ready to fight because you are okay.
In your, I don't know in the full version, whether you have more about the immigrants that are coming to, you have some there.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Do you have more about that?
No, some. Okay, there are more than now.
Because
Yes.
when I go to Italy now, I pay a lot of attention to what I see because I remember,
Yeah.
myself as an immigrant and my parents in Italy. So I think, what are they thinking about Italy? What are they hoping? Maybe the same things that the Italians are hoping to get in London, or similar things.
Similar things.
Not the same.
Yeah, but it's more sad if I discuss with the old generation of migrants in London, for example. There is a very important part of the movie, and they told me it's more sad than before now, because we don't take school, for example. We are just professional.
Yeah.
But now there are a lot of young people after the studies, and without 1 day of work in Italy and 30 years old,
Yeah.
then it's totally different. They start to work 15 years ago, years, maybe more, and it's different. But there are a lot of connections in that sense. But this is it's not my first work in migration subject. I want to show you just my first one, just a trailer without English subtitles, sorry. Was very, maybe the research was 10 years ago, and the release in 2008. But it's about the migration of miners or farmers or from Italy to work in the mines in Belgium after the Second World War. And there was a pact, an independent, very secret pact between Italy and Belgium to bring a lot of people from Italy to work in the mines with a special price to change with coal, because in Italy was war's time, and we need a lot of coal to start with trains to reconstruction the country. I mean, this is another different migration, but it's important to answer you.
I just suggested to Luca to actually translate some of these things, because these are important, and actually they make a good connection with what we were saying. So the First Lady was saying they left. I mean, first of all, again, I want to reiterate that this was a convention between Italy and Belgium. Okay, this is a post-war period. And so they had the Italian government in order also to somehow get rid of these, working class people that they had not enough jobs for. They had the convention of 50,000 Italians, they were going to host 50,000 workers. But the guy was explaining, the youngish looking one, that in fact, because they were young, guess what? They had their families that come as well. So in a shorter period, they got to 250,000 people, not 50. So you see the difference. Also, the first older lady was talking about the fact that it was the working conditions at home in Italy were very poor, and there was a lot of pick and choose and selection on the part of the owner, on the part of the person that was giving work. I give you work if you bring your daughter, or I'll give you work if you bring your mother. Again, sort of in terms of, there wasn't necessarily you are skilled and I give you work. I give you work if I want to or not. So those were not conditions that they were willing to bear. But the last point that I want to make, which I think is very interesting, and we see this again today with the contemporary migration, the Syrian crisis, etc., that he was saying that the young, when we started seeing some of the photos of the camps and the toilets even, the places where these miners were hosted were pretty much the same places where prisoners of war were put concentration camps during the Second World War. And so this connection is important because even nowadays, with they mentioned Auschwitz. This was a contention even in Europe nowadays. There are some of the discussions of where to put all of these migrants, all of these refugees, is to put them at Auschwitz or Dachau. These are concentration camps. So historically, these are very loaded sites. The signification of that is, you see the layers of signification that overlaps here. Again, these are unwanted people in many ways. So I just wanted to, and I think that it is important to make connections with, who are, of course it's a different generation, it's also a different level of different education, different social class, if you wish, because a lot of the Italians that are in London tend to be educated, young people like you, as soon as they are done with university. We haven't mentioned that nowadays the youth unemployment percentage in Italy is enormous. It's like 24, more so, I think, between 20 and between 20 years old and 40 years old, which in Italy is considered young.
Yeah, exactly.
There's about, they're really high. I mean, I think it was 30, 40, maybe 50%.
They're higher, maybe in the last.
So there is a lot of historical overlaps. There's a lot of we have to consider what's going on in London nowadays. We can talk about what's going on in San Diego nowadays. There are a lot more Italians coming. And there's, if you go out and eat at restaurants from Little Italy to any other Italian restaurants, you see how many young people will be serving you, in a sense. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested. Thank you very much for your translation and introduction of the discussion.
I have hardly any opinion on it.
Okay. What do you think exactly? I'm so interested in the Italian migration in the USA. Here in San Diego, you can see many Italians. You can feel Italian touch or Italian approach or Italian pressure. I don't know. What do you feel?
Yeah, for the last night I went to Little Italy.
Yeah.
And
For example?
Yeah, and it was full of Italian.
Cool.
Older people, young people, it was full. Even the waitress, which is speaking Italian,
Okay.
and
What's your feeling? It's strange?
a little bit because I wasn't expecting to see a lot of Italians here in San Diego.
But, lui ha una storia interessante. Tell them where you're from.
I am from Venezuela, but my parents are both from Italy.
Yeah. There are a lot of migrants from
Yeah,
Italy and
Venezuela is full of Italian.
I know.
And Portuguese and Spanish people.
Yeah.
But they went there. They moved to Venezuela because of the war. And just like them, a lot of people did the same, and some even just landed, like arrived to Venezuela because they just miss ships. They're meaning to come to United States or just to go to Australia, and they finish in Venezuela and they start a new life there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And French everywhere.
Yeah, I have family
There's a
everywhere.
spread of Italians everywhere, like a virus.
I know.
But do you feel other, emotions or your real opinion in that sense?
I'm very surprised because I didn't know this story.
Okay.
It's kind of similar with what's happening in Mexico, where my parents are. So I'm like, wow, I didn't know this was happening in Italy, but it's like reconnecting, they're all coming to the U.S. and my people are also coming to the U.S.
Okay. But do you think there are connections between American story, history, or other migrations here, for example? There are connections.
It seems like it's coming all to the starting point where everybody would come to Ellis Island or the other island in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So it seems like everything's coming back over here.
Okay. I'm curious. For example, you are from Sweden. Okay. And you are here. Okay. Can I ask you
What's your story?
why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to move from Sweden
Okay.
somewhere.
You wanted to move from Sweden.
Yeah, and see other
Okay.
places and yeah. Because I like
You
it.
need it. You need to change.
I think it's just I'm curious about life in the world and
Okay.
what it has to offer.
Okay.
But the more I travel, I realize Sweden is a good place to live.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Tremendous. Okay. And now you will back
For
to
a
live
start.
in Sweden?
For a while at least.
Oh,
Like,
cool. Okay.
probably not forever.
Thank you to share.
Yeah.
I
your-
wanted to say, is Katia still here? Did she have to leave? No, because she lived in Italy for several years and I wanted to ask her.
Okay, yeah.
But let's ask of those who have been to Italy, what their perception of Italy
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Good idea.
How many of you have lived in Italy even for a short period of time? Okay, what's your name?
Dakota.
Dakota, yeah, and then Beth over there. I mean, I just
Well,
want to get, what's the perception?
I went all from Milano, Torino, Roma, Firenze, Benevento, Salerno, all over. I was teaching English. So,
That's very important and interesting. What is the approach of Italians to the language, English language?
they try very hard. It depends on where in Italy, I felt like. In the north,
It's
like they
more
can
easy.
speak English very well.
Okay.
In the south it was harder, but they tried very hard.
Yeah, that's so.
With their hands?
Yeah, I had to learn to speak with my hands very much. Like, I would come home and they'd be like, "Why are you talking with your hands?" I'm like, "I'm just used to it."
Yeah.
But
Video game, like.
yeah, it was interesting though, because a lot of people I talked to were trying to leave to go to England to study or to live, and they were like talking about like government corruption, nepotism, and like problems with bureaucracy and losing jobs. Like a lot of families I stayed with were like worried about losing their jobs because they were getting laid off. So,
Then my next movie is about that.
okay.
A part of the movie is about the people need to tell me what's up, why I need to go. And you feel that when you are tourist or teacher in Italy, you can feel that the people are, there's a sofferenza, you know?
Yeah, everyone kind of wanted to
Heavy.
go elsewhere, and it was like, it was very sad to see, you know, like it's so hard to find work here,
Mm.
and like we want, like, I love
Here
Italy.
is the same or it's different?
I think that people have like an idea of America being the greatest place ever,
Mhm.
and they don't realize that there are a lot of parallels between our problems and theirs.
Okay.
Like oh, like the government is so perfect in America, and there's no problems with corruption there, and it's like, oh, yeah, we're pretty bad, so, like in that sense,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
Really nice.
but, yeah, it seemed like most people there thought America was like a dreamland.
Mm.
We saw a movie about this in class, called The Golden Door. And it was about the migration to Ellis Island in the beginning of the 1900s. So it's interesting that
Yeah.
some of these ideas somehow stick to the imagination.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Last summer, I stayed in a small town in Umbria called Tammy with my best friend and her family, and I was able to like interact with the kids in the town. It's a small town, and I was able to interact with the kids my age, and it was sad because it's like they all want to come to California. They even have in the centro in Tammy, they have a sign, and they have one of the kids spray painted like in Italian, like "Welcome to California." Like, yeah, they want to be in. They were like just so amazed that my friend and I, we were from there, and they like asked us so many questions, and they like want to be from there. But then we say like, yeah, like, you can come stay with my friend's dad, but they have no help because they have no. They were like, yeah, it's just so expensive, and then like they're not even in school or anything because their parents don't have money. So like they're my age, like university age. But then only one of the boys that I met, like I was like hanging out with like multiple kids my age, but like only one of them was going to university in Perugia, like the next town over. No one else was in school. They didn't really have a plan for the future. They're just like, oh, I'm just gonna. I think one of them told me like I'm probably gonna live and die in Terni, like have no chance to go anywhere. So it was
No
bleak.
chance.
Yeah, they have like it was just bleak when I was like speaking to them because they were like feeling like they had nowhere to go except that town.
Thank you. I've got a question for you. No change.
Changes?
Chance.
Chances, sorry.
What is the meaning?
I think to them, I think it meant they like don't have an opportunity.
Don't have opportunity, and then you.
And I think it really depended on like their funds too, their money, their what like economic status their parents come from. Because that town's like not like the most wealthiest that I was staying in.
I think this is one of the strong emotion I can feel in Italy when I'm back. There is a sort of, okay, I can't do it, I can do other, this is my life and that's it. This is the approach of many people in Italy, in my region in particular, in Sicily or in the South Italy, like, have you felt the last time? This is the question, okay? This is my real life, and that's it. It's very strange when our very young people, come on, 20 years old, and finish, no perspective. It's very, for me, it's very heavy to digest, you know? And other people are lived in Italy or studying in Italy.
Well, I guess I kind of have like the opposite of her because I studied
The opposite?
abroad in Florence.
Yeah.
And I lived in a really touristy part on the Ponte Vecchio, so I felt like I saw more foreigners than Italians,
Uh-huh.
like in general. but you could tell like there is a drastic like difference in between the classes that
Uh-huh.
people live in.
Mhm.
Because it always felt like they were either very, very well off, or they really didn't have like anything. But I was in a bigger city, and felt like it's more touristy, so I didn't experience like the like minute parts
Uh-huh.
of.
Okay,
That's
thank you, thank you.
I went to Malta actually to study English for a while, and I met a lot of Italians and Spanish people.
That'd be great.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and I told them I quit my job and just to travel, and they were really upset because they were like, "Do you know how hard it is to find a job like in Italy and Spain?" So they were like, "How can you do that?"
You had the job and you quit it.
Yeah, because I wanted to travel, and they were like, "That's you can't do it because you should be so happy that you have a job."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Then I realized maybe in Sweden the situation is so different because I never thought of it that way. I was like, I can go back and get a job.
Exactly.
But I was like, and it made me start thinking like, oh, wow, it is different around Europe. It's
Yeah,
still not
yeah.
far, but
This is a very different.
yeah.
If you think, I wanna try to back and work in my country to live here. You can. Ask the same to young people from Italy. It is one of my questions in the documentary. Have you idea or plans to back in Italy now? No. No now, in the future.
When I
Maybe.
retire.
Maybe, okay? For you, is it clear? Yes, I can. There is a job.
It's a big
You can
difference
do it.
because I think when you lose hope, it gets harder as well because if
Yeah.
you still have it, like I can do it, it's
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, and, thank you.
And that's
What I just feel with your documentary and all the situation is that Italian people don't think they're living. They just think that they're surviving in their country. And it's the
Yeah,
same that's
exactly.
happening with me. The situation in Venezuela is really bad. That's a lot of Venezuelans are going out because we just survived in Venezuela. We could die if they would try to steal our phones. So it's just a vision that you're surviving in your country and you actually want to enjoy your life and you want to live, so you have to find other routes, other places to be happy and to do what you really want to do. So
Yeah.
it's just,
I think
yeah,
So, the thing that I saw in your documentary, like, the Italian people, they feel, like, if you could ask them, what's the difference between your country, Italy, and the place that you go to, they're gonna say to you, like, Italy is like the mother that's, like, take care of you and everything, but then you need to get separate of your mother and search for, like, a like a wife or something, like a
Yeah.
girlfriend. So like Italy is like their mother, their home country, like they feel themselves in Italy. When they go outside, they can get separated to their wife. And they can either get separated to their like mother, it's their mother. So
It's
that's
another
like-
interesting aspect. Yeah,
I see what
was
you-
a stereotype, but it's not a stereotype, it's true.
Mm.
And in my documentary, you can see, you can feel, there is a part of truth in your words. Yeah, there is. There is a strong,
The family is still
yeah,
very
it's too
much,
much. The family is too much. It's good, but it's not good at the same time. Because our grow up is different.
Yeah,
Okay, in England, the young people are,
it's different.
yeah, 15 years old work.
Here too, they do.
Yeah, you
Not
too,
that
the
we
same,
have to-
Anglo-Saxon mentalità. Okay, it's all North Europe is the same, people works. During studies, okay, we usually study until 30 years old, and after starts to work. But we are very old at 30, you know. And I think it's when you arrive in London, for example, and in this jungle is totally different. there are a lot of situations, like young men from Italy, I studied 2 degrees, graduate, and blah, 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 I can destroy the world, I can you know. Keep calm, mate. Do you speak English? No. Okay. Please, this CV. Have you worked before? No. Cool. Wash my dishes, please. That's it. This is a shock. Dishes. And my, you know, I'm graduate. Yeah. But you speak English? No. Have you worked before? No. Wash my dishes, please. Oh, get on. You know what I mean? It's very strong shock. But I want to finish this conference with a funny animation in premiere, world premiere for you. It's the animation of the documentary about the differences between Italian and British people. For me, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, ok? Questo era giusto, volevo ironizzare su questa cosa degli italiani e degli inglesi. Con una animazione abbiamo usato un pesce, we used the fish because for me, yeah, sardine, and because it's influx too, sardine, okay? Thank you very much for your time.